Hello, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are doing a UFC crowds tier list. I have about 17 crowds compiled here, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting out with number one, Las Vegas, Nevada, the crowd that is most frequently visited. I am going to go C tier for the Vegas crowd. It's just not a good crowd. The energy is just pretty average. It's filled with a lot of rich folks that don't really give a fuck, and they're kind of just bored on a Saturday night. So they're like, yeah, you know what, the UFC's in town, fuck it, I'll go and give it a look. So they'll go to the UFC event, they'll pull up at 10:45, of the main card. They're not watching any of the prelims. And on the other hand, it's filled with people that just boo at everything. And I'm not just referring to the main event of UFC 326, because even before that fight, they were just booing when any grappling was going on. I'm telling you, if you watch a fight that takes place in Vegas and there's grappling going on for more than 35 seconds, they're going to start booing. Unless it's the most phenomenal, ridiculous Khabib ground and pound, they're just going to start booing. And it's really lame. And the energy is just kind of annoying. And it's very entitled energy as well. So I'm going to go C tier for Las Vegas, Nevada. Next is Paris, France. It's going straight in fucking S tier. The greatest fucking crowd in UFC history. I was gonna joke like, oh yeah, it's D tier. No, fuck this. It doesn't even deserve that. Paris is the best crowd the UFC has ever gone to. Watch Thiago Moises versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Watch Tai Tuivasa versus Cyril Gane. Watch any Paris or French Canadian fighter fighting in Paris. And it is the greatest fucking energy you will ever see. They're chanting hymns. They're shouting the guy's name. There's just no crowd that can even hold a candle to Paris. Now, I may do another S tier. I'm not sure, but just know any S tier does not fucking compare to Paris, France. I hope that every single event ever takes place in Paris. Next is LA. LA is A tier. They don't go there too often. The last two times they went there was UFC 311. They went to the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. That was Islam Makhachev versus Renato Moicano. Supposed to be Arman Sarukian, but we all know what happened there. Before, this isn't technically LA because it's Orange County, but they were in Anaheim in UFC 298. That was Ilya Topuria versus Alexander Volkanovski. Great fucking card, by the way. The crowd is electric, especially in UFC 311. I don't know what was going on, but if you rewatch that fight card, I don't know if you know how when you go to a concert and there'll be people with the flashlight and they're doing this with their phone and shit. It's almost like there was a light behind every single seat. I don't know if it was the fans doing that. I'm not really sure, but every time there was a slightly damaging shot, the crowd's going crazy. Anytime there was a finish, absolute amazing crowd. I hope they go there minimum 2 times a year because the talent in California is so deep. So I'm not sure why you wouldn't frequent there all of the time. I guess taxes, but you go to Australia minimum twice a year, so that is a hell of a lot of taxes. UFC, I'm doing Brazil. So for different countries, like let's say, like I got Canada here. I have Montreal in the picture. I'm not specifically referring to Montreal. I'm referring to Montreal, Ottawa, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver. You know what I mean? So so I have Rio de Janeiro. I'm going to do Brazil kind of as a whole. So the Brazil crowd, it's C tier, dude. And it's bordering D if we're being honest. But maybe not. We're going to go like bottom of C tier. They are so fucking disrespectful, especially to their own guys. People are leaving the post-fight speech when Glover Teixeira is giving his retirement speech. The last time you'll ever see this Brazilian legend, UFC champion, the last time you'll ever see him, you're going to walk out as he's giving his retirement speech. You're going to walk out after Alessandro Pantoja just beat Steve Erceg. He has to beg you to stay. Like, this is very normal. And there's a lot of like little brawls that go on in the crowd. There's just a lot of negative energy from the Brazil crowds. And it's really upsetting because Brazil is probably the second greatest country in terms of UFC talent ever. I mean, behind America. Like, they have an enormous amount of talent that comes from Brazil. So I don't know why these guys aren't the most patriotic fighters or fans ever, but I just don't get the energy that they bring. It's really strange. Next is Saudi Arabia. Straight D tier. I mean, the Saudi crowd is weird as fuck, okay? This is nothing against the country, against anything. Specifically, the energy in whenever the UFC goes there, it's so fucking boring and lame. You can see a great finish, and they'll be doing golf claps, and there'll be some guy, like some natives that are from there, they're going to be super excited. But the vast majority of people are just sitting there, and like I said, they'll do a golf clap, they'll make a surprised face, oh my gosh, and the energy is just really weak. I don't understand it. Next is going to be Miami. Miami's A tier. I may go above LA for me. Yeah, I'm going to go above LA just because they go to Miami more, so you see the Miami crowd more. I mean, there's never a dull moment whenever you go to Miami. They always stack the fuck out of the cards. I'm extremely excited for UFC 327. 327, Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Ulberg. That card is stacked to the brim from top to bottom. The last time they were there was UFC 314 in April. That was Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez 1. Phenomenal card. That was my best prediction card ever. I think I went undefeated on that card. Or maybe I went 12-1. Before that, before 314, they went there. UFC, oh my gosh, when did they go? 302 was Newark. 303 was Vegas. 304. Was it 304? Okay, no, there was 299. Okay, we need to fact check it. But you know, UFC 304 was English. It was UFC 299 before that. Yeah, there's never a dull moment in Miami. Absolutely phenomenal crowd. Again, I hope they continue their plans of going there every year. Maybe even going over to Tampa, Florida. Maybe going to Orlando, Jacksonville again. You know what I mean? Specifically Tampa, but also Orlando, Jacksonville. Please return. We would fucking love it. UFC Seattle. They just started going there again. They went there last year in February. The main event was Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. They're going there again later, actually in a few weeks, at the end of March, actually, when Israel Adesanya is going to fight Joe Pyfer. This fucking crowd's A tier. Oh, this crowd is A tier. It's going to go below LA. The energy in maybe it's just because the Seattle card was so fucking good and entertaining and just filled with finishes. Maybe that's why I'm putting it in A tier. But dude, the fucking energy from Seattle was absolutely off the charts. It really is no surprise though, because the Seattle Seahawks have probably one of the best fans in all of the NFL. The Mariners have a fucking amazing fan base. I have a little bit of a grudge against the Seattle fan base against the Seattle Mariners because they did beat by Detroit Tigers in the playoffs, but it is what it is. Yeah, Seattle, I'm not really sure how the Seattle Kraken fans are. I can only imagine that they're very high energy as well. I'm not a big hockey guy. I just know that they have a team there and it recently moved, I believe, from Atlanta. I think Atlanta had a team and then they moved to Seattle. Or maybe it was Arizona and they moved to Seattle. I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, I'm not a big hockey fan, but I can only imagine the Seattle Kraken fans are amazing. So Seattle is is A tier. I'm very excited that they're going back. Abu Dhabi, another D tier card for the exact same reasons as Saudi Arabia. Again, it's just low energy, golf claps, nobody's getting excited. You can see the craziest fucking finish ever, and it's just a normal reaction and a pretty underwhelming reaction. It's pretty strange to me. I'm not really sure, but next to Chicago, they recently went there for UFC 319, or was it 18? 19 was New Orleans. Yeah, it was 318. That was August of last year. The first time they went there, I believe, since 2017. And I sure hope this becomes an annual place for the UFC because Chicago is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Fuck America, in the world. So I love that city. I've been there countless times. Let's see. I'm thinking A tier because the energy was absolutely phenomenal. UFC 318 was a very good event. It's actually bothering me. I need to fact check if it was 318 or 319. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, it was 319 because 318 was New Orleans. Okay, I see. Yeah, I just fucking love Chicago. It is a gorgeous city. The fans are amazing. It's one of the greatest sports towns in the world. Probably the second best sports town in America. I may put Philadelphia above that. You could put Boston above that. You maybe, actually, honestly, now you're not even going to put New York City above that. I think Chicago has a clear higher spot than New York City. Chicago is a better sports town than Los Angeles, than San Francisco. Chicago is probably the second best sports town in America, easily. And it has some combat sports history as well. I've heard that the athletic commission there is very strange, and that's why they don't go there too much. So I hope that's not the case, and I hope that maybe whatever is going on with the athletic commission can be settled, and they can have more events there because Chicago's fucking amazing, and they need to return there as often as they can. Mexico City, we're gonna go like B tier for sure. They, of course, have a lot of hometown pride, as you should for your guys. I would hope that I would hope that a country's fans would root for their country's fighter. That would kind of just make sense. Yeah, I'm going to put it B tier. I'm going to go high B tier. It's not amazing. It's not, oh my gosh, like a Paris crowd. It's not shitty like a Saudi Arabia card or a Las Vegas crowd. So I'm going to put it like B tier. Good energy, but not amazing. Next is Montreal. Like I said, we're specifically talking about the entire country of Canada. So Montreal, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Edmonton, everywhere. So I'm going to go also B tier. Of course, they have a ton of pride for their guys, like they should. It doesn't really jump off the page. And it's always good energy, like for sure. They went to Montreal May 10th of 2025. That was UFC 315, Jack Della Maddalena versus Bilal Muhammad. A really, really good crowd there. Maybe the crowd is a little bit different in Montreal than it is in Vancouver, than it is in Winnipeg, than it is, you know what I mean? But I'm kind of just going to group Canada together. So I'm going to put it B. I'm actually going to put it above Mexico City for sure. I really do enjoy the energy of Montreal. I just don't think, of Canada, sorry. I just don't think it's on the level of Paris, of Miami, Los Angeles, Seattle, Chicago. Next is London. It's close to S tier. It's most definitely A tier. It's above Seattle. I think it's above Los Angeles. Is it above Miami? I think it's above Miami. The London crowd is hype as fuck. I have never been to London. I would like to go there one day. It's not my number one, travel goal destination, but it's definitely on the list for sure. I'd like to visit there one day. The London crowd is fucking excellent. Even on cards that aren't even that great, like UFC 304, Curtis Blades versus Tom Aspinall 2, that was a fucking amazing crowd. It doesn't matter if it's a fight night. I remember they went to, was it London that Tom Aspinall versus Marcin Tybura was? I think that was in London. Yeah, because that was the O2 Arena. Specifically the O2 Arena. I mean, obviously the Wembley Stadium, but the UFC will never go to Wembley Stadium. But the London crowd is fucking amazing. I fucking love the London crowd. I hope they go there minimum one time a year. You have a ton of English talent that you can put on that card and the surrounding countries. So I love England, and I would absolutely hope that they return again. Perth, again, this is I'm grouping in Sydney, I'm grouping in Perth, Western Australia, you know what I mean? So I'm going to group in Australia all together. I'm going to say they are, I'm going to go A tier, but I'm going to go bottom of A tier because for some reason, Australia always gets the worst fucking crowds, or the worst fucking cards, rather. I don't really know why they do that. They always understack the fuck out of Australian cards. They were last there, the last pay-per-view they were there was UFC 312. That was awful. That was Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. UFC 305 was also in, was that in Sydney? It was in Australia, but I think it was Sydney. They were in Sydney in UFC 293. That card sucked. I'm assuming because the taxes are so high in Australia that the UFC doesn't want to stack the card because you have to pay a lot of guys. Like if you put the big names on there, you're gonna have to pay them big bucks, and obviously not a lot of guys would want to fight in Australia if 60% of their paycheck is gone. But the crowd in Australia is absolutely electric. Just watch Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev 1. I mean, one of the coolest crowd pops and crowd moments in UFC history, a part of one of the best fights in UFC history. So you got to give Australia its flowers. Put it in A tier. Next is New York City. I'm going to go, as crazy as this sounds, I think I'm going to go B tier for this. Like, New York City is by no means a bad crowd. It's a great crowd for sure, but I just think there are so many better crowds. Like, you cannot make any argument that the New York City crowd is better than Paris, London, Miami, Los Angeles, Seattle, Chicago, Australia. I don't really think you can make that argument. And they only go there one time a year. It's always in November, near the very end of the year. And they always stack those cards because New York City is a massive tourist attraction. You can make a lot of money in ticket sales. And New York City is quite possibly the greatest city in the fucking world by far. I've been there countless times. Love that fucking city. It's amazing. I think it's going to be B, like high B tier. It may go A tier. I don't. Yeah, we'll go A tier. I think we'll go A tier. Like lower A tier. I think Australia is a little bit better. I think Chicago is, even though they're not. The UFC is not a mainstay in Chicago, but I think Seattle's better. Los Angeles, Miami, London, Paris. Next is Newark, New Jersey. Of course, very similar to the New York City crowd because it is just over the river, just across the river. I'm going to put it in B tier though because those cards are not normally as stacked as the New York City cards. And the New York City cards will be filled with every single celebrity that lives in New York City. Whereas I don't think you're going to have New York City celebrities going to the Newark, New Jersey card because it is New Jersey. I know, again, it's right across the river and it's a fucking 40-minute train ride, but I think what really brings the New York City crowd together is not only just the great energy, but it's also the massive stars that are in attendance for that event. And I don't think as many stars are in attendance to the Newark, New Jersey events. Last time they went to Newark was UFC 302, Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. Before that was UFC 288. That was, oh my gosh, that was Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling. And they just announced that they're going to return to Newark for UFC 328. May 9th. I will be in attendance, so I will be in attendance for that. I'm going to try to see if I can get some fucking fighter interviews. This will be my first UFC event that I ever go to. Very fucking excited for this. There's only 2 fights that are announced for this card. That is Marco Tulio versus Roman Khabibov and Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Alexander Volkov. So very excited for this card. I'm very excited to see what they put on there. Hoping you can put maybe like a Jim Miller because he's a Sparta, New Jersey guy. Hoping you can put, just some more Northeastern names. Sean Brady, of course, is already booked. Joe Pyfer, of course, is already booked. But just some more guys in the Northeast you can put there. Maybe some guys from the New England cartel you can put on that card as well. Boston, Massachusetts. I don't know why they don't go here all the time. Easy A-tier crowd for sure. The last time they went there was UFC 292. That was August of 2023. Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling. Dude, my fucking memory is tremendous, by the way. I don't mean to be that guy and fucking kiss my own ass, but dude, my fucking memory to recall these events, tell me, I got the best memory in the fucking game. But Boston, Massachusetts crowd was fucking phenomenal. I don't know why they don't frequent Boston. That should be a place you go to every single year. You have the New England cartel. You have guys that are in the Northeast region of the United States that you can put in there. You have guys in the Mid-Atlantic that you can put in there as well. No idea why you don't go there all the time. Dana White is also from Boston. I think he lived in Connecticut, but he also lived in Boston for a while. I think he grew up in Boston. Don't know why you don't go there all the time. The combat sports history in Boston, specifically boxing, is off the fucking charts. I could talk for 2 hours about the history in combat sports, specifically in the city of Boston or just the whole state of Massachusetts. Who is next? What does that say? Oh, that says Shanghai. So we're gonna group in China for this. China's a good crowd for sure. It's nothing that, again, will jump off the page. So I'm going to put it in B tier, maybe a little higher B tier. I mean, again, it's a very good crowd. There's not much Chinese representation, so maybe that's why the energy isn't amazing. Because the main guys that will be on the China cards will be the Road to the UFC guys, and then you'll have a Song Yadong there, and you'll have you'll have maybe like a Jungin Park who's South Korean, but you'll have the East Asian fighters that specifically aren't from China but are from Eastern Asia will be on this card. So, again, it's a good crowd, but it's not a Paris, a London, a Miami, and a Los Angeles. But that is my tier list. I will leave the link for this in the description if you want to play around with this yourself and make a video or just do it by yourself. Thank you very much for watching. Go to my Instagram and TikTok. Follow me there at VinceMMA1. Go to 3punchconvo.com. Use my code VinceMMA for a first free month. The link will be in the description. And thank you very much for watching.